Well, hi everybody. Welcome back. We're on lesson number 8 right now. Can you believe it? We're almost finished up. So we're on lesson number 8. I'm so thankful that you've kind of stuck it through this whole journey with us. This is such a great journey, and we're on to lesson number 8, which is such a great lesson. It's titled "That Connectors Create an Experience That Everyone Enjoys." You know, one of the things that connectors do really well is that they understand how to take an experience, whether it's a personal one-on-one or whether a small group or even in a large group, and make that experience bigger than life. You know, connectors understand and give a lot of thought on how to take what they're doing right now currently and lift that to a whole nother level. You know, doing nothing is really average, but doing something becomes memorable. So connectors understand that memories are a huge part in people's lives, and that's what allows people to have that emotional connectivity, is because of memories. So they give a lot of thought to this, don't they? So if we want to be great connectors, we have to give a lot of thought to the experience that we're giving. You know, doing nothing really is average, but doing something creates memories, just something. You know, I get this. I really understand the idea of creating an experience for people. It's really important for me to create an experience. Jerry and I both understand this. In our business, we really think about how, all the time we think about how we can create such a greater experience in our business. You know, we want to increase the experience all the time, hands down, because we want the experience with people to become more memorable, with our clients to become more memorable, with our friends. We want the experience with our friends to be so memorable that they never forget that we were together at that time. It's something that they'll always remember for the rest of their lives. For most people, life really is boring. Most people are boring. But for most people, lives are boring. Their lives are boring. Well, your life isn't boring, so I'm not talking about you. As a matter of fact, you've taken your step here to join us in this group, and you're learning how to connect, you're learning how to communicate, you're learning how to be a better leader, you're learning how to increase your influence in every situation. So you obviously are not a boring individual. But how many of us, raise your hands, how many of us know somebody who is a boring individual? Maybe their life is great, but it's just boring. Their life is boring. So here's the thing about that boring life, and that's kind of at its simple, at its best. If we can simply understand that if we can tweak things just a little bit to take an average experience and make it so that it's way above average, I guarantee you will connect so much better. Because if people's lives are just simply boring out there, then if we can take that experience and tweak it just a little bit, you're going to connect so much better, I guarantee you. You know, several years ago, you know, I remember on my dad's birthday, you know, my dad's wife, they decided she was going to take him to Vegas to see a fight. We're all boxing fans in our family here, and we're going to take him to Vegas to see a fight. My brother and I, in Los Angeles at the time, and my dad was here in South Florida. So on their birthday, or around his birthday, they flew out to Vegas, and they were there. But one thing that my dad didn't know was that my brother and I were going to come to and surprise him. So this was the memory. We were trying to create that memory and that experience. And my dad will tell you this if you ask him to the day. He probably won't say much about the fight. As a matter of fact, he'll probably tell you this story. That once he finally got to Vegas, he probably realized that he was there to see Vegas and see a fight. Obviously, he was there in Vegas. He went to his favorite restaurant where he was going to have dinner, where they were going to have dinner. He walked in, was looking around, and I remember this. My brother and I were sitting in the restaurant. He had no clue that we were there. He didn't even see us. I kind of got up and kind of waved my hand and say, "Hey, Dad, we're over here. We're here." And he's looking around, and all of a sudden he saw us and his face lit up. I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. We went over, we wished him a happy birthday. My brother and I gave him a hug, and we just had such a great time there in Vegas. We ate, we wined, we dined, we saw great fights. I think we drove a NASCAR. But the story that he's always going to tell you is that he had no clue we were there, and he was searching around for the table on his birthday that he wanted. He didn't even know that we were there to surprise him. And what a surprise it was. The experience that we created was such a great memory for my dad, and we allowed us to connect on such a better level. I recently got back from a cruise. And we went on a cruise with our friends to the Caribbean, and our ship was rerouted to the Bahamas because of a hurricane. We had a really great suite on the back of the ship, and we not only was our ship kind of rerouted, but because of the storm, but like 9 others were as well. So we were like 9 cruise ships in the port in Bahamas. And our room was situated so that as we left the port in the evening time, we had this beautiful view of all the ships and the entire island. It was so great. We decided, let's all have our friends over onto our balcony on the back of the ship, and we'll just have a great time together just talking and watching. So we made that plan. What we decided to do, though, was this. What my wife and I decided to do was to enhance the experience. So we decided, well, let's bring some champagne. Let's bring some mimosas. And we got some cheese, we got some fruit, a whole meat plate going on there, and some great music. And when they showed up, they were blown away that we had taken this extra effort to increase the experience. And we sat there, we had great talks, we saw the sunset, we saw the island leaving, wonderful view of all the ships. It was just such a memorable experience with our friends. It only came about. And a matter of fact, if you ask anybody, that's what they're going to tell you was their greatest experience, was that story. Because we took the time to create an experience. So what I'm trying to say is this, and we'll move on to our notes here. What I'm trying to say is this: it takes a little effort on the front end to make a big difference on the back end. It's the little effort on the front end that changes everything, that creates the memories, and that makes life and connecting interesting. So you want to learn how to be interesting? We have 4 things in your notes. How to be interesting. So let's go into your notes. Number 1, in your notes, take responsibility for your listeners. Take responsibility for your listeners. Don't say, I hope I have a good audience. As a matter of fact, there are no bad audiences. There's only bad speakers. Here's what taking responsibility means. It's not the people's responsibility or the individual's responsibility to enjoy you. It's your responsibility to be enjoyable. So take responsibility for your connecting, for your communication, for the experience that you're looking to create. Number 2, connection in their world. You have to connect in their world, not your world. Quit answering the questions that no one's asking. You have to learn to get out of your own head, and you have to learn to walk in their shoes. What do they want? You have to catch people in their world. They're too busy wondering what's going on in their boring lives. So get into their boring life and make that experience so much better, but do it in their world. Number 3, capture people's attention from the start. This is simple. When you communicate or you're looking to connect with people, you must get on their page. Remember, they're in their world. So we have to get them on our page now. So here, how do we do that? Well, one of the things that I love about John Maxwell is usually within the first 2 minutes of every conversation or any speech, he does one of 2 things. Within the first 2 minutes. Number 1, he either asks a question or he gives an assignment. So if you remember, sometimes when he talks, he either asks a question like, how many of you guys, blah, 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 or he'll give an assignment. If you remember, sometimes when he speaks, he says, so are you ready to go now? Go ahead and turn to the person on your left and say, I'm ready to learn. Why does he do this within the first 2 minutes? Because he wants to get them ready. He wants to get them turned on, and he wants to get them set, and he wants to get them to go. You have to get their attention from the start. Number 4, and last, say it so it sticks. I love this one. Say it so it sticks. And we have in your notes, we're not going to go over all of them, but there's a couple of things. You remember Patrick Henry, he said, give me liberty or give me death. What did Martin Luther King say? He said, I have a dream. Winston Churchill, never, never, never give up. That was the shortest speech that he ever gave. Never, never, never give up. These things stick with us. Simple quotations, simple things that you can be remembered by, that always help people to connect with you better. John Maxwell taught me how to get and create quotes, take quotes from other people and use them, and also create quotes myself. You have to work on statements and quotes that stick. One of the things that I do is whenever I hear a really great quote, I have my iPhone in my notes section of my iPhone. I have a page, and I just type quotes. And I frequently look at these quotes, and I read them, and I try to memorize them. And whenever I talk to people, I always try to say a quote, say something so that it sticks in their mind, because I want to add value to them. I want to connect with them. These quotes and these statements also help people to create better experiences and help you to become more memorable. So say it so it sticks. We'll finish with this a really great letter from Calvin Miller from the Empowered Communicator, and we'll read this together to close. Dear speaker, the world has never got over its liking of the truth. I've been a member of a church now for more than 50 years. Must have had more than 20 pastors. I don't know for sure. None of them stayed very long. Every one of them told the truth. In fact, they could bore you for hours on end with the truth. There was only out of one of the whole bunch that ever really wanted to keep. He told the truth interestingly. One time he put on his bathrobe and played like he was King David. Sure was interesting. Another time he played like he was an innkeeper in Bethlehem. Then one time he smeared his face with soot. Sure looked strange as he told us he was Job. We all knew better. He knew we did, but I never really understood the book of Job till that sermon. One time he dressed up in a white robe and came in the back of the auditorium carrying a sign. He told us he was the archangel. He seemed so convinced that we believed him. Damnedest thing, he'd do almost near anything to keep our attention. He always did. Big church down in Chattanooga hired him away from us. The good ones always seem to get away, don't they? They arrested a man over by Greenville the other day. They threw him in jail. He was walking around a town in a white robe carrying a sign that said the world is coming to an end. I don't know why they arrested him. Most everybody believed he was right. As I saw it, he was telling the truth interestingly. Last week my preacher preached on that very same thing. The way he told the same truth wasn't all that interesting, though. They might have locked up the wrong man. They might have locked up the wrong man. It sure seems important to me to tell the truth interestingly. Not too many people do it. A bunch of us who listen to your sermons are wishing you'd do it. You might try the white robe and sign routine. Just don't go outside. Signed, your audience. The concept in this is simple. We need to work to create an experience in whatever setting that we're communicating and connecting in. All these preachers that go by, 20 of them over 50 years go by, and all of them speak the truth, but they're boring. They probably don't even remember their names. There's one man that comes and does it interestingly and takes that extra effort, tweaks his presentation, and makes that experience extra special. And they remember him and they want him back. Oddly enough, he's the one that gets snatched away. Question for you is, what kind of experience are you creating when you communicate and you connect with individuals and groups? I guarantee you, if you can learn this skill, this is going to take your level of connecting to a whole nother level because of the memories that you're going to create. It's going to create emotional and sentimental value. We'll see you at the next lesson. Take care.